Hi, everyone. Welcome to another amazing topic of conversation. I want to thank my sponsors, the Health Channel, Alt Health Go, and Finkelman's for the Chef in You. And I want to just say that we're with the power of the heels, we're going live again, and we have a monthly networking event. So please go to our website, thepoweroftheheels.org, and register for our next event. So, Michelle, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Gladys.
I wanted to talk to you about, I know that, and please tell me what was your past life before we go into moving forward.
Yeah, my past life. I was in corporate positions for 25 years, well, a little over 25 years. And I stepped into my very first leadership role 6 months out of college and have been pursuing, I was on the leadership track since then. So I've had the benefit of working for many different industries and working with some amazing teams in environments that were most often very crazy, from anywhere from a turnaround to a company being in high acquisition mode to be sold. It's been an exciting journey.
So, our conversation today is transitioning from corporate to becoming an entrepreneur. You have been in a leadership position, but in the corporate world.
Mhm.
So, my first question to you is what made you change? What made you make that decision of moving from corporate to becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, it's interesting because I finally had the opportunity. The last company I was with, we were acquired or we sold to Goldman Sachs, and it was a great time for me to transition into something to be out on my own. My husband had just retired from the military after 31 years, and we both wanted to be somewhere where it was warm year round. We were from the Northeast. So we decided to move down to Miami, and it was just an opportune time for me to decide to do something, uh, something that I was more passionate about, and something that I can control and own. So I really thought about what my strengths were, what I could contribute based on the years that I was in corporate, and it kept coming back to leadership and team development and building up people, developing people. That even though I was in an accounting and finance world in corporate, that was always my strength. And in fact, I was hired by some of the companies specifically to rebuild teams and to grow them in prepare for becoming larger companies. So I and I also, when I was in corporate, what I was always looking for a program to send my new managers to, because as time goes on, you have less and less time for development, so you look for those outside opportunities. And I was really having a hard time finding something for new managers or up and coming managers to uh, have a longer term training mentorship. I found there were places where I could send them for a day or two, and they could have a high speed training, everything leadership, and then forget about it when they came back, but hopefully implement some things. Or I could pay thousands of dollars to have a consultant come in and create something that was specifically for our company. But being a mid-sized company, it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to spend that. So my goal was to create something for the new leader, not executive leaders, but for the new leader, that was accessible to everyone.
So, Actually, the decision was more based on moving and starting a new path.
Yeah. I had always wanted to do, always wanted to have a business of my own. And in fact, I had tried years ago to start a company, and was a single mom, and it just became too difficult to manage working in a company, to all the hours that I needed to invest time there, and then being a mom and running a business. So it's always been something that I've wanted to do. And it finally, having this opportunity, I felt it was the right time to make that move.
What is the difference that you're seeing now that I know that you started your own business?
Yeah.
What is the main difference that from you've seen from the in the leadership position, because it's very different as a leader in corporate and as a leader of your own company. So what are the main things that you can tell us?
Yeah, it's been a challenge. It's been different. It's so different coming from an environment where, you're at a VP level, you have teams taking care of things, you know what needs to get done, you have the experience. You when something goes wrong, you know exactly, or you can figure out what needs to happen pretty quickly. And to come into to leave that, where you know what you're doing, to come into a starting a company where you're basically the one responsible for
Everything.
all of the yeah, all of the jobs.
Everything.
If something goes wrong with IT, there's nobody I can call up. I have to figure out, how do I fix that. It's it's been it's been fun and exciting, but also some days it can be frustrating, and I have to have like a lot of pep talks to myself, to make sure that I'm, you know, not getting down. A pretty positive person, but there are some days where I'm like, what am I doing?
But it's more from the whole team that you have and now basically doing it yourself, but the mindset. Like, is it different? Before, when you were for a corporate, you had like a whole list of the corporate culture
Hmm.
and what things needed to be done and things in a certain way and certain goals and metric. And now that you're on your own, what has changed?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I spent a lot of time, I think, because of my experience in corporate, on developing a corporate strategy for my business. I actually have a pretty lengthy business strategy document, and it has all of the my mission. I have my goals. So I really I had to create that for myself, to have some level of security that I knew what I was doing with the business, so I could stay on track with it. Um, from day to day, I can be spending time on so many different things. You never know what direction you're going to get pulled in. And I guess that is the same in corporate, but I think the difference really is it's all a lot of unknown now, where it was, at least I knew what issues were going to come up in a very general sense, and I knew how to approach them before. Now it's you know, learning sales and marketing, and how do I do that at a very small startup business level, and what's going to work and what doesn't work. It's a lot of trial and error, and learning, and a lot of like uh blows to my ego, I want to say. Whereas before, you have that confidence. I guess it's a lot of it is the confidence, to know, that you know what you're doing.
But now you can just bring that confidence and make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, I do, I do, that's my goal.
So, what inspired you to open your business and do what you do?
Well, my passion, like I said, when I was in corporate, I I loved working with the people that worked for me and mentoring them. And it was always important for me to have everybody had an individual development plan. So we talked about where are they now? Where do they want to be? Maybe they want to be in the same place, and that's fine. And we knew that, and I knew that. But if they wanted to grow and develop, what does that look like? And putting a plan in place to get them to the level they wanted to get to. And then also, of course, getting them the resources that they needed to get to where they needed, because it wasn't just, in 1 year you can be here. It's the experience and the training and the development to get you to that level as well. So that was always, I mean, I loved those conversations. And I I just thought, well, what better thing to do than to transition that into something that I can provide value and offer that to a much larger group of women. And that's why we've done virtual. So everything we've set up is virtual, so we can reach people across the country, outside of the country, and provide the programs that we have. Just it makes me feel, um, I don't know, it makes me feel fulfilled that I can impact so many more women, and people than when I was in a corporate position.
That you only had your team to work with.
Yeah, yeah.
But what have been the challenges that you've been and that you have encountered being on
Hmm.
your own?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for me is that, again, my background being finance and operations, I I of course touched marketing and sales, and was very, I mean, very aware, because I think, one of the reason I excelled was I had a very good understanding of the overall business and what it took, what happened, in a business. So, and then I also, for my MBA, I actually specialized in sales, and marketing for my MBA. So, but what I learned in starting a business is that what you're learning in your MBA program and what you're seeing,
Exactly.
and it doesn't translate, because it's for large companies that have large teams and larger budgets. And it's not the day-to-day tactics of what do I need to do to make a sale. What do I'm physically going out on LinkedIn and, connecting and networking with people, which I love, by the way. I love networking. It's another thing that I feel is so important, even outside of starting a business, just being, just professionally. But just, what do I say? What are the things that are going to make somebody want to buy something? It's so tactical versus the strategy that I guess, I was exposed to before, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. For me, it's more emotional.
Mm,
It's like trying to connect emotionally to be able to sell.
hmm.
But yes, like I told somebody the other day, it's more about, it's very different to sell for somebody else than to sell for you.
Yeah.
It's a completely different story.
Yeah. And then also when you're trying to do it online, it's like, how do you convey that emotion to somebody who doesn't know you? And that's been a challenge.
So before, for 25 years, you were under a name, you were under a corporation. So you weren't, the identity was different.
Mhm.
Now the identity is you. You
Yeah.
have your own brand, you have your own identity. How has the mindset shifted? Is it different?
You know what's different is when I first started, I was I was sure that Boss Track, the name of my company, needed to. Oh, sorry.
Don't worry.
Okay, sorry about that. So when I first started Boss Track, I was certain that the brand would be Boss Track, and I needed to be the person behind that name, but it wasn't about me. I didn't want it to be about me. I wasn't going to make it about me. But I quickly realized that for the company to build trust and for people to understand or yeah, or trust the brand, they need to see the person behind it because I didn't have that brand equity built up and I didn't have other faces that could go out and spread the message of who I was. So I learned in a very difficult way and it took a long time for me to realize that I need to be the one out there showing my face, talking about the company, showing up on social media, which it's been a little freeing to find that out, because it's been a lot of fun. So had its pros and cons.
Yeah, it's freeing because it's you that you say what you want to say. You're not bind by some regulations or another brand on what you need to say. So in that sense, but it's also like you said, it's trial and error.
Yeah, it's definitely trial and error. I don't want to keep focusing. I'm focusing on sales and marketing, but I could talk about the same things with IT and the struggles I've had there. But
And please tell us, because that is what a lot of people really want to hear.
with marketing, it's like everybody says, "Oh, Facebook advertising, you have to do social media advertising." And we spent a lot of time focusing on social media. I hired a social media agency. We really focused on that, and we put some social media ads out there, and we really weren't seeing the traction. And so then was working with another marketing professional and they were saying, well, LinkedIn ads are the way to go. So I invested money in LinkedIn ads and they weren't getting traction. And, um, I started to look into Google ads and then, somebody else says, no, Google ads aren't going to work unless you have a lot of money to invest in it. And that's not your budget. So I mean, it took me a lot of time to kind of circle around to the best strategy for, excuse me, the best strategy for my business right now is, the direct sales outreach. And that's kind of where we've circled around to. So it's, I feel like I might have gotten away from the question that you asked, but that's certainly been something to share.
No, that's a really good part, but you were saying something about IT. But if
Oh, you
you
wanted
want
to
to
know about my
say
tea.
about the IT, what happened with,
Well, with IT, like I said, our programs are all on virtual online. So we have quite a few different tools that we rely on. We have we have a software program that we build the courses in, and then we have a learning management system that we we put them into to offer them online. And we really needed to put that robust system in place because we were actually just approved by NASBA registry, so we're on their list of approved providers for CPE for accountants. So I'm glad we put all that time in, but the problem is that, the more, and this is going to get into a lot of technical details with WordPress, but the more plugins you add, the more problems you run into. And it just seems like, something gets upgraded and it breaks something else. And then you're going in and I've really learned how to do a lot of that troubleshooting myself, but I've learned how to kind of work my way into the support network of some of the providers so that so I know who are the right people to talk to now. But I just, it's always an inopportune time that something
Oh, of course.
decides to break. In fact, I'm having an issue right now with some of my courses are suddenly, getting out of order. Not out of order, but there's a panel on the side, and I'm working with somebody now. So it's just a never ending, and I
But that's also growing pains.
yes, definitely growing
Because if
pains.
it was little, it would be working. So that means that you're growing.
True, very true.
So that's a good problem to have. What are some of the courses that you have online?
Well, we have an accelerator program that offers first time the kind of the first time manager, like moving into a leadership mindset, where we walk with women leaders through how to go from individual contributor to manager to leader. And we talk about, delegation, how to have those critical conversations. Then we talk about some of the softer skills like communication as a leader, having the confidence to lead, emotional intelligence, and then we also, of course, networking and relationship building. And what am I missing? Oh, and of course, the most important one is building trust with your team, because the way that's like the foundation of leadership is having that trust, so they'll follow you and want to work with you. So we have those. That's our core. We have that in a accelerator program, but we also have that in a bundle. And then we have individual courses that we're continuing to develop online.
So, but all these are for women that want to move forward in their careers within corporate
Yeah, they are designed for corporate,
or
but
corporate. Okay.
for entrepreneurs that are building teams, they are just as applicable to small business owners that have those teams.
Oh, that's interesting because I remember many years ago when I opened my business, my sister went and said, I just go work. I love what I do. I get paid at the end of the week. And you keep on suffering to see if you have the money to pay for everyone, and you're always the last. So
Yeah.
has that been some of the things that you've been through?
Oh, of course. Yes. I pay for all of the resources that need to be paid for the business, and I don't take a salary at all. So I have not paid myself at all from the business so far. But to be fair, we really just launched earlier this year. So I somewhat expected to have that happen. And, am in a fortunate position where it's been okay.
Do you have like being all organized that you have like a whole strategic planning and everything? Do you have a business plan?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I have a business plan, a financial plan. I have targets on users. I have targets on financials. It's just something I needed to keep myself straight and organized with what I was doing, and to make sure too that everything that I was doing with the business was working towards something that was, you know, constructive and productive. Because you can find yourself focused on things that just are, don't add any value, and it really helps me to stay focused. But yeah, I mean, of course, I keep having to, when you start, you have no idea. So you set all these huge goals for yourself and you work towards those huge goals. But yeah, I mean, I'm constantly revising and changing based on what I'm learning and what I know about the business.
So I understand from what you're saying that it has shifted a lot from when you began.
Yes. Yeah, has shifted quite a bit.
That what you put in paper was not real life.
Yes. Yeah, because when you start a business, you're so excited. You're like, I have so much value that I'm providing, and everybody's going to want it. Everybody's going to love it. And I'm sorry.
Don't worry, talk through it. I guess we're waiting for the noise to fade away.
Is it loud on your end?
No, you're fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, because it sounds so loud here, and I don't know why they're drilling on something up there, and I don't know why.
No,
I
don't
mean,
worry, you're good.
okay, so I apologize for any editing that you gonna
We
um
actually do not edit.
oh no, my
Don't
goodness.
worry.
Sorry everybody. There we have some drilling upstairs, so I had a little bit of a pause there. So but yeah, so it's you think everybody's going to want it because you know what value you created and what value it's going to present to everybody. And yeah, and it's just making yourself known and getting the word out and who you are, and having people realize um the benefits. And it's there's a lot of noise out there that you have to wade through, and have people find you, and that's been challenging. So yeah, so we're constantly revising our objectives, and especially based on what we're finding works, and what isn't working, and then new strategies that we put in place to try to make ourselves known to everybody.
My last question, because our time is over, is over. Now that you're going through this and you came from 25 years of corporate, are you happy with the decision you made?
Yes. Yeah. Very, very
Oh,
happy. Very fulfilled. Like I said, I have good days and bad days, but mostly most good days and even the bad days are great. And I just enjoy creating, and the knowing that I'm creating value for people to find and to benefit from. And going back, it just it when you think about something and you start feeling this like overwhelming distress, it really tells you that that's not the right path. And when I think about going back to corporate, that's how I feel compared to what I'm working on now.
I'm very happy. Boss Track, can you give us
Yeah.
the website so that for women that want to take your courses, they can go and look?
Yeah. So the website is www.thebosstrack.com. It's THEBOSSTRACK. don't go to Boss Track. You'll find some cryptocurrency website and be a
Oh,
whole different world. So, so
so
yeah,
it's the boss.
thebosstrack.com. And if you want to reach out to me directly, my email is michelle.harris@thebosstrack.com. And you can always reach out to us directly at 305-330-6167. And texting is always the best way to reach us there. But yeah, we're here. We want to help. We want to help women leaders grow and be confident in their positions and prepare them. And we want to do our small part in picking up those numbers at the higher management levels and getting more women wanting to be in those levels.
That's amazing. So thank you. And thank you so much for being with us. And everyone, above all, stay safe. Until next week.
Thank you.